Hi, Krishnakoli. Good evening. How are you doing?
Good evening, sir. I'm doing fine. I'm quite excited about my new job.
All right, very good. Congratulations to your new job. And for everybody's understanding, Krishnakoli, from being a fresher, she cracked a seven-figure job in, I think, one opportunity itself. And she's part of our Ivy Pro School's data science program. So, Krishnakoli, what I want to do and understand from you is that how you prepared for this data analyst job at ECOLABs Digital, and what kind of rounds you had and how did you prepare for those interview rounds, and then we'll also talk about the kind of trainings or the job role that you are going to be doing with Ecolabs Digital. So let's start with your background, Krishna Kohli. What is your background? First, let's tell our viewers about your background.
So I did my bachelor's and master's in economics from Calcutta itself, and master's from the University of Calcutta. And right after completion of, like, right after my second semester examinations in my master's course, I joined Ivy. I had been suggested by my friend who was also a student at Ivy, and I was quite interested in the field of analytics. And he suggested me the institute, and I went for it. And I think I had one of one of the most amazing experiences here with the trainers and with you all. It was a very holistic experience. After my final examinations, I got the notification about ECOLAB, and that is where I applied for it.
So let's take a step back here. So you started with Ivy in which year?
2023 July.
Okay, just past year. Okay. And you let's go through the modules that you had and how did you prepare for those modules. Then we'll go into the interview rounds as well, Krishna Kohli.
The modules meaning the ones I attended the classes.
Yeah, because I mean, you came with an economics background. A lot of people tell us that I'm from a non-tech background. So how will we be able to do the data and AI kind of a program? So I want to understand how you took all these individual course modules that were part of your course certification program with Ivy, and how did you cope up with them, and what did you do differently, or maybe what did you do to kind of take care of that thought process that people have that I'm from a non-tech background and I can't handle data and AI skills. So let's start with that.
So my first module was Excel, advanced Excel, and I did it under Ishani ma'am. And it was as I stepped into it and I went mostly the offline classes and also the online classes. And as I stepped into it, I felt that I did not ever feel that I did not know these things before. I was not aware of a lot of things about the technical aspect. And the course starts from the very beginning. So as a beginner, I felt like I could do it easily. Like ma'am guided us throughout, and we had small assignments every week. So I made sure that I did all the assignments on time, and I submitted the projects and everything, and I included those projects in my CV as well. So that is how then after.
So you followed all the deadlines. We give weekly deadlines for the exercises and the case studies. So were
Yeah,
you were able to follow all the deadlines that we gave?
mostly I was able to. Yes.
And how many hours did you give to the program when you were part of the program on an average per day?
Apart from the classes, I used to give around one half an hour to 1 hour for every the assignments reviewing and for the case studies. And mostly I tried to give that every day to go through all the to Excel properly, and then SQL and then Power BI.
Very good. So you gave approximately 1 to 1.5 hours. That's exactly what we tell learners that beyond attending the classes, you must give at least 1 to 1.5 hours daily. And if you give that, then you will definitely see the results. All right, let's go to the next module. I mean, how many projects or how many cases did you do in your Excel course module?
I think there were around 5 to 6 case studies, and some were guided as well. Like we were given most of the material, and we just had to connect the dots. And then after that, we had some where we had to get the data, and then we had to think ourselves as to how to do this. And that became more challenging, but it was fun to do as well because I knew the basics, and then we could do that. And with the same process, I followed in like we followed in SQL as well. You gave a lot of case studies. Like every other week, we had case studies, and I remember doing them thoroughly on time.
Okay, very good. In Excel, you must have also learned data storytelling or data visualization best practices as well from Ishani, right? How was
Yes.
helpful in your later on modules?
As a beginner, when I looked at data, I did not know how to handle it at first, and yeah, what to understand from just numbers. But the way Ishani ma'am actually made us think like a data analyst would, so that way to understand what the patterns are, what are the ways that I can go and check if there is something, if there is some extra mile I can go to understand what this data says, or if there is something extra that is not coming into my normal eye. All of those things I think help me understand all the modules better.
Okay, very good. So, that's one of the very important things that we try and tell our learners right at the beginning, in the first module itself, that how do you look at the data and how do you build stories or generate insights from the data? Because that is one of the basic things that as a data analytics professional you end up doing. Very good. After that, you did SQL. SQL was coding. You came from economics background. How did you manage coding?
I think I had done a bit of HTML and Java in my school,
Okay.
and after that, when I started doing SQL, I felt like I liked doing it.
Okay.
I felt like okay, this is something that I can practice. And SQL, actually, because it is coding, I think we need to practice a lot to in order to understand what goes where and everything. And I developed that interest within the first 2 weeks, and then regular practice helped me get a hang of that.
Very good. But at any point of time, did you not feel that coding that, I mean, because in my first class itself, I start with SQL coding. So
Mhm.
on Google BigQuery, on cloud. So those are very, very new things to somebody who does
Yes.
not with a computer science kind of a background. So did you find it intimidating that, hey, on the first class itself, I'm writing codes or I'm going to cloud and doing things on BigQuery? Did you feel scared of doing so?
I wouldn't say that I was scared. It was a bit challenging, of course, but you start from the basics only. Like even if I don't understand, I did ask questions a lot of times. So when I'm not understanding, and you made it a point to clear my doubts. So I was not afraid. It was a bit challenging, but I did clear my doubts.
Very good. And in SQL, we do so many projects, right? So did you have to
Yes.
increase the number of hours that you were giving, or did you manage to give the same 1 to 1.5 hours daily for the SQL module?
No, for SQL module, I did have to give in a lot of time
Okay.
because those case studies initially, like it was since we started, when we started, after some time, you started giving the case studies, and and then because in Excel that comes a bit later on, but here it came a bit early. So that was, I did have to give some time. I remember that time I was not very well also. I had dengue. But after coming back, I really enjoyed doing it. So even when I was on bed rest, I was going through the videos, I was going through the case studies because it was enjoyable for me.
Okay. Krishnakoli, I always say that, if you follow that weekly schedule that we have for submitting your exercises and cases and projects, then it feels like video game that, you're achieving the milestone and you get a sense of accomplishment and that
That's
kind of
right.
pushing you forward. Did you feel so? Because, I'm talking to you, it feels like, you were very organized in doing that and following that schedule.
Uh, I always have this thing in my mind that if I miss this deadline, then I'll have a lot of work to do later on. And then I also have to attend the next week's classes as well. So I want to be prepared before that. So I did eventually find time to meet the deadlines and submit. There were submission deadlines on Classroom. So I did try to follow that, and that's how.
In SQL, I also give a research project where I don't give any data sets, right?
Yes.
And I
Yes.
ask you to research the data set, commercial data set, and then build your own business questions, frame your own questions, and then submit a report as well as record a short video on it. Did you manage to do that?
I think video I could not record, but I did make the project. It was on Airbnb sales. I downloaded it from I think Maven, and then I found the business questions, and then went on with the presentation that I submitted.
Did you build the PowerPoint data-driven PowerPoint presentation for which I
Yes,
give the tutorials as well?
yes, I did. I did do that. I posted on my LinkedIn as well.
Very good, because I always say that you must get acclimatized to getting your skills
Yes,
right. If the world does not know what you know, then nobody will appreciate, right? So, and that
yes.
also opens up a lot of opportunities, when you start posting about your projects and the cases that you're working on LinkedIn. All right. After that, which module did you do?
After that, I went for Power BI.
Okay. And in Power BI, what was your experience? How many projects did you work on?
On Power BI also we did like I think 4 to 5 case study and project we did, and there was a final project.
Power BI is quite a framework. It's an enterprise data visualization tool. Didn't you feel overwhelmed with so many options which are there? DAX is there, and so many
Yeah.
calculators also come in there. So how was your experience there?
I think when initially I think DAX was a bit challenging for me. It really took me some time to understand, and I would still not say that I'm very like I can easily say, but I have to think a bit, and then am able to solve. That's how I did my later on projects as well on Power BI.
Okay, very good, very good. After that, which module did you do?
After that, I did Python under Farooq sir.
Python is very, very different beast than all of the other tools. So,
Yeah.
your experience in Python.
Python was way more challenging than I thought it would be.
Okay,
But again, it's coding, so it requires a lot of practice.
right.
So that's what I did. I practiced.
Okay. But in Python as well, I mean, when you go to machine learning or predictive modeling classes, you are working on various statistical models and you building, I mean, you're working on case studies and all. How's your experience? You came with the economics background. That must have been slightly easier for you.
Yeah, to understand the statistics part of it, the modeling part of the logistic regression part of it, that was helpful for me because I had been doing statistics for some time.
Okay. Okay. And did you do any other module as part of the program?
I have started with DBA. It's on hold right now because I have shifted here. So that.
I think the most important module that you did with me, the most important module that you did with me, which was non-technical, although very important from an interview point of view.
I think the CV trading
The
sessions.
you may mock interview preparation as well as the
Yes,
NLP problem solving classes, right?
yes, yes,
Could you talk about that? What did you learn in that particular module? Because a lot of our learners don't take that module very seriously because there is no Python, there's no machine learning in it, there's no Power BI, there's no Tableau, there's no Gen AI. So half of the time people don't turn up for those classes. So how was your experience? And I'm going to ask you a follow-up question that how did that help you to prepare for the interviews and to face the interviews that you actually had with ECOLAB?
I think the first thought in my head was that if I'm going to apply for a job, they're going to look at my CV. So I have to make my CV right first. And in all of the modules, all of you all stressed really on CV building and LinkedIn profile building. So I thought that is the first point of focus. So that is how I did the CV and training and analytical thinking that module, wherein I learned about the ATS scoring and how to structure the CV that way. And that is how I think got shortlisted out for ECOLAB.
Okay. So suppose now that you have already crossed the boundary and you've now become a professional, so why don't you give some tips to the people who actually want to customize their resume for the data and the AI industry? What tips would you give as a young professional now in the world of data and AI?
I would just repeat whatever I have learned. That is to keep the CV short and concise and in one page, to use the keywords that are mentioned in the job description because that really catches the eye. To quantify whatever projects and the results of the project that we have done because numbers speak more than all the flowery language that we use.
Good.
I think that is what.
And what about the analytical problem solving classes? We did a lot of guesstimates, logical thinking questions, analytics approach questions, logical puzzles. I mean, did they help you during your interviews?
Definitely, because I would say ECOLAB interviews, all the rounds were majorly focused on how, the way I'm thinking and my logical reasoning skills and all my analytical skills. Like from starting from the aptitude test to the group discussion and the technical interview, I was asked like the focus was on my analytical thinking only. They were giving me case studies to solve. So that's where all those learnings came into use. I would say for the group discussion round also, all the do's and don'ts that I have learned and all the GD sessions that I had attended, the mock GD sessions that I had attended, that really came into play because I was actually experiencing what I heard in the video, and that I could use those in the right moments as to when I have to speak, the kind of concise points I have to put in. All of that is from the classes only.
Very good. Now let's talk about the interview rounds that you had. So how did you come to know about this particular job, Ecolab's digital job, and What were the steps that you took?
I got to know about this from Ivy's community page. It was posted over there. It was for freshers, and I was a fresher. I drafted my CV according to the job description that was provided. I tried mentioning all the keywords and the skills that aligned with their JD. I tried adding all of that in the concise manner as I had learned, and I applied for it. Then it got shortlisted, and the first test was the aptitude test, wherein there were a lot of, not a lot of, but there were a lot of logical reasoning questions, and there were some coding questions from SQL and Python that included OOPS concepts. For SQL, there were joint questions, group by having questions, and we also had to correct codes in Python. Those type of questions were also there. There was a section on English. There was a section on data interpretation, and for the logical reasoning part, I think a major focus was on that. There were like 3 to 4 sections only on logical reasoning. So that is where I think it helped me for, and also the coding part.
Very good. So that was the first round.
Yes, that's so.
How many questions were there in the aptitude round? Do you remember?
I don't exactly remember. I think it would be around 40 to 45.
How much time did you have?
45 minutes.
45 minutes. All right, good.
Next, we had the group discussion round. We were in teams of 5, and we had been given a topic which was a completely analytical. Like we had to have an analytical mindset to answer that. So they said that there's an OTT platform that has been facing a dip in subscriptions in the past 1 year, and we had to come up with possible reasons as to why this was happening. We had to come up with retention measures and measures to get over this phase.
Very good. So it sounds like one of the cases that we did on video rental and as part of the analytical problem solving classes, or that movie production kind of a case that we did, right? Where we just had to think with a slight amount of data. Yeah. Okay, go ahead. Please explain the case more. Yeah.
Yes, it was exactly like that, and I was like quite familiar with this also because I had attended the courses. So I did know I could come up with some points instantly. It was a very nice like the people, the interviewers were very friendly, and they did ask some questions like about this. They wanted us to argue with each other, but I kept all the do's and don'ts that were given, like all the guidelines in my mind. No arguing, to speak in a calm tone, and all of that I kept in mind in the group discussion round. There was also, I had attended this session where they were talking about how to say your point when a lot of people are talking, how to come out and say my point, because otherwise I won't get a chance. So I had that thing in my mind after watching that video, and I could actually understand that this is happening. So that is where I came out and said, okay, I can add to your point. This is my thing. To add to this point, this is my point. That is how I think I tackled the group discussion round, and it went quite well for me.
Okay, very good. Very nice, Krishnakoli. Krishnakoli, I want to ask you, after this round that you had, right, the case study round, were there any other rounds as well?
There was a technical interview, and then there was an HR round.
In the technical interview, what did they ask?
Initially, they asked me to introduce myself, and then they started with the projects on my CV. So they were talking about my final year thesis that I had, and they were talking about a SQL project that I had, and then they started asking me questions on SQL joins, window functions, CTs, group by having. I think these were the questions they asked me from SQL.
Okay,
and then again
CT joins, grouping, aggregation, everything. But we cover all those as part of the course.
Yes, right. So I did not have trouble in answering those. And after that, they again focused on analytical thinking a lot because they gave me a case study again.
Okay.
So they said that, consider yourself as a hiring manager. You have a hiring team, and ECOLAB wants to build a data science team. So how, what would be my idea to, how would this hiring strategy be? So that is what I had to think and come up with. They encouraged me to ask questions and clarify. And I think I did ask a lot of solid questions like, what would be the budget of the team? How many people do you want? This type of skill sets you want? And I answered in a way that if there are 4 skills that they want, and if they have a budget for 20 people, then we'll have 5 people in each team, and those 5 would be a collection of senior, experienced people, mid-senior experience, as well as freshers. And for these 3 categories, I suggested hiring patterns. Like for freshers, we can go to institutes and campus placements. For experienced personnel, we can go for networking through the other senior professionals, because there would be a huge network of experienced people. For the mid senior level, I suggested giving out the system of referrals for that, and that is how I handled that case study.
Very good, very good, very nice. In the technical round, so I know you mentioned about SQL specific questions that were asked, and again, they asked you about the logical reasoning questions as well. So in the technical round, did you get confident that now you have crossed it, or how was your confidence level after the technical round?
I would say that I was confident, but I was also very scared, because there are other people also who are very proficient at it.
Right.
Yeah, and I did have a fear, but I thought that maybe I can, maybe I will
Very good.
do it.
After that, you had an HR round, right?
Right.
What did they ask you in the HR round?
In the HR round, I think they just asked me about my background and all whatever I had done about to introduce myself, and that's what they did. And yes, sir, that much only. They did not ask me another question.
Very good. Krishnakoli, I must congratulate you on 2 things. One, you were very organized and sincere in your, in your preparation, even when you were a learner with IB, because that is a very, very important thing. We provide platform, we give options to everybody. We have a support team as well who kind of push learners to do the assignments, the cases, the projects, and attend all these the non-tech classes also that we do, right? But at times, some of the learners don't take them seriously. Some of the learners definitely take them seriously, like you, and remain very organized about them. So that is the first thing that I want to congratulate you about, that, as a young mind, you were very, very sincere and disciplined and organized. So that is very, very important. And that one skill, being disciplined, being organized, can be very, very helpful in the long run as well. So that is the first thing. Very good job. The second thing is, I'm not sure if you realize this or not, as a fresher, you were able to crack a 7-figure job in such a short period of time. That is also a commendable effort, and I'm sure your parents are also proud of you. Your family must be proud of you, but you must also be proud of your own effort, and you must go with your head high, that you actually did that with your own effort, right? I mean, Ivy provides the platform to everybody, but I mean, few learners like you who end up doing so well. I mean, end up following that method, the system that we have created so well, that and I always say that if you follow the method, there is no reason why you would not get the opportunity. So I think from the small things that you mentioned, for example, you mentioned that you customize your resume based on the keywords that were there in the job description, and that helped your resume to get shortlisted on day one. That in itself is a small thing, but that's such an incredible important thing to do, which is to tailor and customize your resume, which you did very well. Then you mentioned that you were very dedicated towards finishing the week wise assignments, so that the next week there is no domino effect of having more assignments to finish, and that leads to demotivation later, that if you have a lot of things pending, then it becomes very, very difficult. So that you tackled your procrastination very well as well. And I like the fact that you were very confident in that entire journey, right? I mean, you were not getting everybody has a little bit of nervousness, and that's very usual, even whenever you're doing something big, when you are very sincerely focused towards achieving a goal, there will always be nervousness, but you never felt as if you would give up. So, which is a very, very important thing that you did. And I am also thankful to the team. I mean, the team at Ivy Pro School as well, who must have helped you. I know you were part of my class,
Definitely.
but there are so many other people who are part of the system, and it's an acknowledgement to them as well, that you followed what we preach, and you actually got very good result. So I know now you're in Bangalore, right? And
Yes, yes,
it's a good city. I'm not sure if you have ever been to Bangalore before, but I'm
no,
no. So very good,
no.
very good learning. Again, it's going to be a life learning for you, that You are in a new city away from your parents, and you're taking care of yourself. You are being organized. This is your second week in the work, and I mean, you feel confident. I am just talking to you. I feel that you are actually having a good time with the new role and in a new city. Yeah.
I am definitely.
All right. Any last few lines, few words for the learners who are actually part of Ivy Pro Schools program, data and AI programs? Any tips that you would want to give as a young professional now that you are?
I would say we need to start taking things seriously. Certain small things that we often miss out, like the training sessions, the analytical sessions. I think that came very extremely handy for me. So I think focusing on those areas is very important, and regular practice and a bit of hard work. I think that is what I did.
All right, all right, all right. Thank you, Krishnakoli. It was a pleasure talking to you, and all the best with your new role. And I hope you will do great. I'm sure you will do great in your future. So all the best. Thank you, Krishnakoli.
Thank you so much, sir. I'm extremely grateful to everyone at Ivy because I got this opportunity because of Ivy only. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been possible. So I'm very thankful to you all for making me the person that I am today.
All right. Thank you, Krishnakoli. Thank you. Bye
Thank
bye.
you, sir. Bye.